When you retire, you may get a chance to go to football heaven. This is football heaven.
George Veras here. Welcome to the mission. Our mission at the Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and celebrate excellence everywhere. And what better way to celebrate it with the longest running successful primetime sports show in history, Monday Night Football. And actually, before we get to our announcer guest, starting with play-by-play Steve Levy, I have my own little history to share. My uncle James Nicholas operated on Joe Namath's knee, and I started out my career as a ball boy and a trainer for the Jets for 3 summers in Peekskill, New York. But I was going to high school in Cleveland, so I was on the field for the first Monday night game, Steve. 35-21, Bill Nelson beat Joe Namath and the New York Jets. I know you're from New York. Jets or Giants fan?
No question, Jets. Queens and Long Island, got to be Jets.
Exactly. Did you ever make it to Shea, or were you always going to the Meadowlands?
Oh, come on. Every year I made it to Shea. My dad had a buddy who had season tickets, and whatever awful December game he didn't want to go to was the game I got to go to, and I was so excited. I probably went to 10 to 15 games at Shea Stadium. I love going there. There was a big home field advantage for the Jets, and I don't think opposing teams like going to Shea.
So you must have enjoyed the sack exchange.
Absolutely. That was the Richard Todd, Matt Robinson quarterback battle. But yes, the sack exchange, that was, that's when the Jets were the Jets. They were taken seriously. They were a threat around the league.
I remember.
I do remember the AFC Championship game and A.J. Dewey and all of that against Richard Todd in the mud. So yes, my Jet love goes back deep, and it's been a rough go, quite frankly.
Well, we still have 1 Super Bowl, and I live in Cleveland. They have 0, and they're still lamenting that. But this year might be the way. And then the irony is they would get in, and none of the fans could go. They've been talking about that around here. You can imagine. So you're wearing the gold jacket. I had the chance to work at ABC Sports from 75 to 80. Tell us about what you know of the ABC Sports ESPN tradition with the gold jacket.
Yeah, so we actually, on the actual 50-year anniversary, and that never works out, right? The odds on it working out on it happens to fall on a Monday night. Are you kidding? Like, how is that not a Wednesday? So things once in a while happen to work out in your favor. And it's a genius idea by our production crew to try to make this happen and then to make them look realistic. And but we both joked. We actually said in the open, we said, hey, look, this is about as close as I'm going to get to a gold jacket. Quite frankly, this is canary yellow because everybody knows what the gold jacket is. The gold jacket symbolizes Canton. We understand that. So I look forward to paying for my admission to go to the Hall of Fame as soon as possible.
Well, we can't wait to have you here. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the gold jacket really precedes the Hall of Fame gold jacket. Roone Arledge used it actually before Monday Night Football. McKay wore it in Wide World of Sports. The Olympic guys wore it, and then he just graduated it to Monday Night Football. But I'll give you a piece of, we love history here. Trivia is our deal. So the Hall of Fame was founded in 1963, but the gold jacket did not emerge until 1978 when Hager made the gold jacket as a gold standard. And let me tell you 2 really interesting notes. One, the color is a proprietary color. Nobody else in the world can duplicate it.
Really?
And this is a note to your production people, red tint was added to the gold jacket in 2012 to show up better on HD TV.
Really?
So you might want to pass that on. I mean, I like the gold jacket, but, a little red tint might not be bad.
All right. Jess Krause is standing here right to our left, and she might be solely responsible for making these happen. So in 50 more years, when I look forward to being on that particular episode of Monday Night Football, maybe we'll have just a hint of red tint in it. But I do get it. I do get the history. I don't think you can tell the National Football League story now without Monday Night Football, what it has meant, the biggest games, the best players playing their best, really. And it's been just an honor to be in the booth, even for a cup of coffee for me so far.
Well, I know it's going to be more than a cup of coffee. You've been at ESPN since '93. I have a question for you. More notoriety, and maybe not because of COVID-19, in Monday night versus your incredible notoriety in This is Sports Center commercials, which they're now running hour specials on. So it's about 80% Steve Levy in the commercial spots all over the place. So which one, and how has that different been in terms of the notoriety on Monday Night Football?
No, it's been entirely different. And again, I'm so new to this, George, but I'm enjoying every second. But quite frankly, the run up to this, the run up to our first game was really incredible. And when I say that, I mean really to other people in my life that I love and care about so much. It was, it was like being called up to the big leagues, that phone call that you make home to your parents or your wife or whoever that might be. And so to be able to call my dad and tell him, hey, Dad, I got Monday Night Football. And maybe even more emotional than that was being able to tell my kids, like they had always heard about Monday Night Football from me and from my friends and from my parents. And they knew it was my dream job. And actually the scene was something I'll never forget. When I finally found out, it was really, maybe a month before the season started, I told my 3 young kids, and my daughter started sobbing uncontrollably and gave me the longest hug. She's 10 years old, and gave me a long hug that I will never forget. I mean, she would not let go, and crying through the words, Daddy, I'm so happy for you. And then I have twin boys who are 8, and one of the boys said, hey, good job, Dad, like a total different. And then the third son, the other twin, said, wait, so we can't watch Monday Night Football together as a family anymore? And I was like, well, I guess when you put it that way, I said, listen, in a few years, hopefully, should things go right, I'll be able to take you to a few games with me every season. So, it's interesting how it comes through your children's lives, how it pertains to them. But that hug from my daughter, I still get sort of choked up hearing about that. And so, yeah, I've been on the air for a long time, but there's no question this has gotten more attention. Every mistake is pointed out very quickly because, listen, we know the whole world is watching Monday Night Football. I knew that coming in. I wouldn't change that. That's why I wanted the job. I want to be with the best, alongside the best, in the long line of great broadcasters that have called this game, this particular package. I wanted to be right there. And it's an honor to sit in that seat every Monday night. And that is not lost on me now and will never be lost on me.
Well, your appreciation for that says a lot about you, and your family's reaction really does talk about how special it is. And you talk about the lineage from '69, 10 Hall of Famers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where that Monday night booth, of course, Madden probably being the more predominant. But you had Namath, you had OJ, you had Alex Karras, Frank Gifford actually is really other prominent. And the guy whose people sort of forget about, who had, I think, the second or third longest run in the booth, was Dan Deardorff.
An offensive lineman, right? And you would not expect that. I think it speaks volumes of those gentlemen. If you think about it, really in all of professional sports, the greatest players are not necessarily the greatest broadcasters. You see it with coaches too, right? Great player, again, in all sports, great players and don't necessarily make great coaches or general managers for that matter. And so to be able to do it so well on the field and then to be able to take that to the broadcast booth really speaks volumes. And again, it's not just your knowledge, it's how you present the knowledge. And it's inform and entertain, right? You can't just entertain, you have to inform. You can't just inform and not be entertaining. So there's really a fine balance. So to be a Hall of Famer on the field, make your way to Canton, and then go on to have a second career, in essence, at the top of the broadcasting chain, really says unbelievable things about those men you just rattled off their names.
Did you have any Monday Night alumni call you up prior to going in, tidbits, advice?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact. I'm fortunate to call 3 of my predecessors, not just colleagues, but friends. Mike Tirico and I, started right around the same time at ESPN. We did the NFL on ESPN radio way back in a closet in Bristol. And, we're bringing NFL highlights and interviews to people, from 1 to 7. So we got all the early games and finished up the late games before we left. That was an unbelievable shift. And then to see, Mike call Monday Night Football, I remember being so proud of him and the great run he had. And really, if Mike doesn't leave, and no one ever thought he would leave for his dream job at NBC, then Sean McDonough doesn't go to Monday night, and I really don't get back into college football. So I needed a variety of sort of moving chairs, if you will, to eventually one day get this spot for myself. So Mike has been so helpful, as has Sean McDonough, as is Joe Tessitore. Tess was a great help for me when I got back into college. And listen, there are tricks of the trade. And as I said before, I've been broadcasting a long time, but this is a different kind of broadcast. Again, it's Monday Night Football. And so any tips from the guys who have come before me on a very, very short list, which I do recognize, I certainly take to heart. I appreciate how forthcoming they were about, hey, here's what you want to do, here's what you want to stay away from. But I'll leave you with this, George. All three said, hey, Steve, go be yourself, though. Be the broadcaster you are, the broadcaster that puts you in this position. And so I've tried to take a little bit of that advice, from each of them. Hey, try this, and then I try to mix in a little Steve Levy once in a while.
Do you feel sort of settled in? I mean, how are you feeling? It's also new teammates. It's like you said, a new national platform. How's that going? And I don't think anybody would expect it would be a complete rhythm, by this week coming up, whatever is week 6.
No, it couldn't. We're not in a complete rhythm. We treat this much as I think head coaches and players do. We are week to week, and we are trying to improve every single week. I was fortunate to have worked the 4 previous college football seasons with Brian Griese, so I had a certain feel for him. Louis Riddick joined us for a Monday Night Football game last season, the back end of the nightcap, the doubleheader, the annual ESPN doubleheader. So, and Louis and I had worked together for a long time, SportsCenter on the road at the Super Bowl, all the SportsCenter segments in Bristol with Louis. So I had a certain sense of what he likes and how he likes to do his business. And I will say regarding my partners, I have 2 of the more cerebral football minds, I think, standing next to me on Monday Night Football. And I'll even say this about Louis, and I think Griese will agree. Quite frankly, I have never found anyone more in love with the game than Louis Riddick. Listen, I love the game, Griese loves it, but Louis Riddick, the way he loves football and the way he studies it, the importance to Louis is something I haven't seen before in anyone else. So we're trying to figure it out. We are figuring it out on the fly. There will be no complaining. We are in 2020. Things have been tough on everyone. Hey, there's no preseason games, so we didn't have that. Phil Dean, who is a highly experienced, high-level football producer, also his first year of Monday Night Football. He's been doing college games forever. So Jimmy Platt was really the veteran of the 5 of us, and he's in his second season of Monday Night. Lisa Salters is the longest tenured sideline reporter with the history of Monday Night. Of course, it comes in the year she's not allowed on the sideline. So it's been, it's been a wacky year. We can't go to the game together. We can't hang out together. We can't spend any time pregame, postgame. We have yet to be the 6 of us in the same room at any one time. And that's, that's what we're living with everyone else. The exact same thing. We're trying to be adaptable and flexible, much like the NFL is at this point. And we know that the audience is not forgiving, and we want to be judged on our broadcast each and every week. And I really feel like we got off to a good start. We're making little improvements every week. Felt pretty good about our last game, but it helps when you have a great game. And so we look forward to outstanding games and really good broadcasts the rest of the way.
What game are you looking forward to? And don't say the Jets in week 9.
No, we've circled a couple on them. We've circled a couple of them. And when the schedule came out, everyone pointed to Kansas City at Baltimore, right? That was like, if you had to see one regular season game, that was the one on paper. And they were like, whoa, and we got it on Monday Night Football. So that was really cool to have the last 2 MVPs play in the game, and Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. We were thrilled to open up Las Vegas. That was a big deal. I don't want to throw names around, but Garth Brooks is a close personal friend of mine. Bobby De Niro said, never name drop. But Garth Brooks is a close friend, I will say that, and he was supposed to open up Las Vegas. He was going to be the first ever show there, And just because of, what we're all dealing with, it got canceled like a lot of other things. So we were thrilled to open up that brand new stadium, see our old pal John Gruden against Drew Brees and the Saints. So, coming up the last game of the regular season, and we'll see if it remains the last game of the season, but it's Buffalo at New England. With the AFC, the way it's shaping up, you have to think that game could come down to the division title. So that's a long ways away. We've got some unbelievable games in the schedule. I enjoy the cold weather as opposed to Miami-born Greasy and Louis Riddick, who wears a snow parker and a hat wherever he goes. Our second half of the schedule has a lot of cold weather in it, and I'm all for that.
Including those Ravens against the Browns.
Good one there, and we're in Cincinnati with Pittsburgh the week before or the week after. We have back-to-back Ohio games. So, up and down the schedule is really good. The Rams go to Tampa. I know that's warm weather, but the Rams are off to a great start. So, listen, I know NFL executives called this probably the best Monday Night Football schedule in about a decade, maybe longer. So personally, I'm happy to be along for the ride.
Have you ever been to the Hall or come to enshrinement?
I have been to the Hall of Fame as a kid, a young kid. I went on a team tour, and we bussed from New York to Canton, Ohio, and I do remember it. I have a vivid memory of it. I loved everything about it, and I imagine it's changed quite a bit since I was there. George, I kicked myself, though. I will tell you the story. I was invited. I was personally invited by Ray Lewis for his induction ceremony. Ray and I got to be close friends on my 3 years doing postgame on Monday Night Football, the SportsCenter postgame show, traveling. And because of a personal prior commitment that I could not get out of, and I'm still kicking myself over that, I did not get there. So I look forward to one day. I know Greasy's father's in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he makes a phone call for me and gets me to Canton really soon.
Let me say that the phone call can start here.
Great, I'll take it.
We're going to invite all four of you to come to the Hall of Fame. Twice the fun in 21, dual enshrinements. The 2020 class, the 2021 class will probably be Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, possibly Calvin Johnson, because it really is the Super Bowl week of history, but it's like a community fair. It's not a corporate event. That's the special thing, and I'm sure Brian's been to the Hall, and maybe he was there for his dad's induction. Probably was pretty young, but either way, I've been at the Hall since '09. I've had the pleasure of producing for CBS 3 Super Bowl pregame shows. I knew Phil Dean as last year as a rookie as I was leaving. And I still get to go to the Super Bowl every year. We produce the Knock on the Door, the Super Bowl luncheon.
That's unbelievable.
Great
I
people.
get excited every time I see that. Feel emotion. I was with Randy Moss in Minneapolis for that Super Bowl, and it's always during Super Bowl week. So to sit on the set, even though indoors because it was so cold, but Randy had just gotten the knock on the door. I mean, you guys have done that so well. It's so theatrical, but it's real. The player probably does know it's coming, but we know if you get the knock on the door, that means you're going. Nobody's knocking on your door to say you're not going to Canton, I imagine. And so, but that's a real thrill. And I will tell you this about my two twin boys. I told them, and again, they're 8. When they get to be 10, I told them I take them on a trip every year. Just me and them, wherever they want to go. And both boys individually said, Canton to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
You bring it on. You bring it on. You've been gracious with your time. I got one more for you.
Sure.
Did you have a chance to watch the tape they showed you of the unveiling of Centennial Plaza? We did at halftime for the Browns game, the Browns-Bengals.
I did.
And then you saw the surprise we pulled on Joe Buck when he got goes over it. So that's actually my warning to all of you. If you ever see David Baker, even in a bathroom, that's really, really suspicious quickly.
Yeah. Listen, I hope that Riddick and Greasy get inducted one day. I don't believe it'll be for their playing career, but maybe they'll go as broadcasters one day, and maybe they'll invite me and let me sit in the back row sometime.
Well, I hope we have all three of you. I actually hope on a personal note that Howard Cosell gets the call. I'm going to give you quickly my ending note on my Howard Cosell in the Monday Night Football. So as I told you, I was a writer researcher for ABC Sports in New York. I was working at Lenox Hill Hospital, got a call in '77. 4 o'clock on Monday. Can you catch a train to Philly? Cosell's stage manager can't make it. So I go to Philly, empty Veterans Stadium. I had stage managed with Jet Gaines. That's how I got my start in the business, through Frank Ramos with Merlin Olsen,
I
Lennon.
know Frank Ramos, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. So I go into the booth, and there's Cosell, and he's barking at Chet Ford. Chester Ford, do I have to explain to you the words of the English language? And he's got the cigar. And by the way, speaking of cigars, there's my honorary Howard Cosell cigar.
Yes.
Got my cigar. He's got the headset on. He's got the raincoat, the trench coat up. And I gingerly approach him, having sort of gone through this before. And he just finished the diatribe. And I just leaned in and I said, Mr. Cosell, and he wheels around. Said, who are you? I said, I'm your stage manager tonight, George Veras. Nice to meet you. Okay? Get me a vodka and tonic and make sure there's plenty of vodka. Now, this is 1977. There is no liquor outside of beer and wine in Veterans Stadium. And I use this story when I interview prospective applicants in sports positions. So the question is, what do you do? But because I'd worked in the Jets and I used to go to Leon Hess's post party, the thought is go to the owner's box. If anybody's going to have any liquor, it's going to be the owner's box. So I make my way to the owner's box. The door opens up. A butler opens up. Yes. George Veras, ABC Sports, for Mr. Cosell. Do you have any vodka available? 1 second, please. The door closes. Door opens up. Hands me a bottle of vodka. Cosell, courtesy Leonard Tosi.
Yeah.
So I go into the booth. I've got the bottle. Cosell goes, "You're my man. I'm going to insist you're with me on every single game. What's your name? George Veras? Nicely done." I never did another game with Cosell. That's my story.
The story was going to end differently, quite frankly.
No, I didn't. But thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Good luck. And we really look to hosting. Come with your sons. Come to enshrinement. Derek, thanks for putting us together. He's got my phone number. Love listening to you guys. I think you guys are going to just be a terrific listen. It's really been enjoyable having the three of you in the booth.